All right. So it says I'm live. So if I am, give me a big warm hello in the chat. So you'll see here on YouTube, we are streaming live, and this is day one of an amazing 2-day workshop that I have some guests who are going to be joining me in a few minutes. We'll talk about them momentarily. And they are absolute masters of getting a flood of traffic and blowing up your business so it makes a ton of money. That's what they're going to be teaching you. And they're going to teach you how to do it with organic traffic, meaning you're not necessarily going out and buying clicks from the giants like Facebook and Google and all of those, but other ways that you can get a lot of traffic without spending money on advertising. So it's going to be an awesome show. And I want to see here, let me just check. I see the hellos coming in. Let's see that. Okay, good. Looks like maybe our announcement emails haven't gone out yet, so the audience is still building. Awesome. Let's see here. Then I do see, I think on my team, Daniel is behind the scenes as well. So hopefully, Daniel, the SMSs and all the emails went out, and you can check that. Audience should be building. And I do see the hellos coming in, though. So welcome to the show. Who here wants to learn how to get a flood of traffic, meaning visitors to your websites so that they can give you money and you can have a profitable business? That's the whole point of what we're doing here, right? And, you hear me talk a lot about using AI tools to build businesses and start businesses. And we have some strategies that we teach how to use content to fill up your website with content, and how to use Facebook and social media to get traffic. But there's a whole other universe of traffic getting strategies that you don't hear me talk about a lot. And the special guest that I'm going to be bringing on, that is their specialty, is doing exactly that. Is going out and finding other ways to get traffic and doing it in a way that really helps you build authority and trust. Because one of the biggest problems we have as entrepreneurs, especially with a brand new business that you start, is that we need to build trust and authority and get our brand out there so that the giants like Google, the giants like Facebook, and more importantly now, the big giant AI companies like ChatGPT or Google Gemini or Claude with Anthropic, or these giant companies that are now, that's where everyone is going to asking questions. And the big question becomes, how do you get those giants to pay attention to you and to list your brand and talk about your company, so that if somebody does something like go to ChatGPT and says, hey, what is the best product for, right? And it's your niche. You'd like your stuff to come up, right? Or if somebody goes to Google and types phrases like that, you want your stuff to come up. These are different forms of organic marketing. And it requires that you build trust and that you take very specific actions that my guests are going to be going over with you to help you get more traffic. That's the big thing. And I see the audience is building a little bit now, so we're looking okay there. And I'd like to know in the chat, do me a favor, who here has enough traffic? Anybody here getting lots of traffic currently? I'd like to know in the chat. Let's start with that. Who here has a site up and you're getting traffic? I shouldn't say enough. You're getting some traffic. Give me a yes in the chat. If you've got a site up and you're getting something, you're getting some visitors to your website and you'd like to get more traffic. Give me a yes in the chat if that's you. And I have a feeling, yeah, Wim says never enough. I agree. I absolutely agree. Okay. Then give me a no if you, or give me a not yet, in fact. Don't say no, say not yet. If you don't yet have traffic coming to your website, okay? Forget the no's, because we're going to fix that. So what you're going to say is not yet. Okay, there we go. Not yet's coming in. Awesome. Cool. A lot of you need traffic, okay? And then did you know this whole concept of authority, about how you get your brand out into the world and you build trust and you build authority with some of the bigger websites? Did you know that was something that you had to do to be able to get rankings for organically for free? Because I think a lot of people have underlooked this strategy. And My guests will be talking about the things that you can do that help you with that and help you get traffic all at the same time. Now, these are guys that I have known for quite a long time. I don't know how many years it is. I'll have to ask them when they come on in a minute. It's been a long time. We've got to hang out together in places all over the world, having fun and lots of wild and crazy fun in places like Barcelona and Miami and other places around the world. And they are my go-to, especially when it comes to this kind of traffic. They are my go-to experts. In fact, we collaborate and we share different business insights with one another. I learn from these guys every time I get a chance to get on a call and have some time with them. I learn about what they're doing, and we get to collaborate and share ideas. And they have made me a ton of money by sharing what's working, and I take their advice and implement it in my business. So, of course, somebody that I'm willing to take advice of and use in my business, I would bring on and want to share with you here. And so I'm going to bring my guests on now, and let's see if they have their cameras on. I think they're hiding from me here, but there we go. Cameras are coming on. My guests we have Chris Munch and Jay Cruiz. So, hey, Jay, there we go. Then we got Chris.
I was hiding. I'm shy. Please.
yeah, right.
But no, good to be here, Bill. Really good to be here. I'm here with Chris, and we're very excited to be on the session. And it's always good to work with you, man. Any excuse we get, we always want to come and collab with you for sure.
Yeah, well, you guys have always got like the most cutting edge, up to date information, especially when it comes to traffic. So it's perfect for me to share this with my audience. And one thing I do want to let everybody know before I just hand it off to the guys, they're going to take it from here. But before I do, I want to let you all know that this is just day one of a 2-day workshop. Day one is here, public on YouTube. Day two is private. Okay, so this is not to tomorrow. We are not going to be here on YouTube, but there is a lot of additional content and some of the best stuff we're sharing for this private broadcast that is taking place tomorrow. So if you are not already registered for that, you're going to definitely want to do that. So that link is pinned in our comments here on YouTube. So if you look at the top of the comments, you should see a pinned comment with a link in it. And that is how you register to make sure you get access to tomorrow's day two content. And they've got some awesome stuff planned for that. And that's the only way to get it is to register and be part of the notification list. We'll be doing that off YouTube in a private session. And that's how you get it. So guys, at this point, I think I'm just going to hand it off to you and let you take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Bill. Again, really appreciate it. Really good to be here. So I'm here with Chris. So guys, if you can hear me, you know the standard protocol, just really quickly, we don't have to overdo it, but if you can see me, you can hear me, I'm coming through fine. This thing is working, right? Just give me a quick yes in the chat, if that's cool. That's all right. Yeah, is that cool to ask of you guys, just super quick before we kick off here? And as you're typing in the yeses to confirm, I'll give you a couple of shout outs. So we've got Tiff on the call here today. We've got Richard. Good to see you, Richard. Good to have you on the call. We've got Diadra says hello, LB. Adele Juarez, strong name, Juarez. Love that. Devin. We've got Daniel Bismarck Petit. That's another great name. Like that's a double barrel surname and a half, right? My God, I'm gonna say that again. Bismarck Petit. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. We've got someone called Make Money Online. Pretty clear why you're here, right? I guess Leonard, Gary, Jeannie, and a few others. So welcome to the session, guys. My name is Jay Cruiz, and along with my partner, Chris Munch, we're going to take you through 2 days of really, really cool stuff, right? I'm very excited to share that with you. But ultimately, what we're going to do is take what you're doing with Push Button, what you're doing and learning with Bill, and build on that, right? And really stack that up and teach you some really cool stuff that you can actually apply on the sessions. So give me a 5 in the chat if that sounds like a good deal. So not just, overwhelm you with lots of stuff and then, you wait weeks before you try it or even days, right? But just give me a 5 in the chat if that sounds like a good deal. Things that you can apply live and direct as we do the sessions with you, which is why we're doing not just 1, but 2 sessions, right? So we want to see you and help you to actually apply this as we go, right? So that you can see the impact on your business and on your on your progress, right? I've got something weird stuck to my cap here, so ignore that. And also, guys, I'm really sorry. I literally just snuck in a quick workout, which is why I look homeless, but I'm not homeless, I assure you. Right? Should have shaved, right? Anyway, none of that matters, because what matters is why we're here. We're here to grow our businesses, to build on what we're doing with Push Button, and we're very excited to share some stuff with you here today. We're going to be going into, just as a sneak peek, things that you can not only apply to your business, but your personal life, right? Because personal and business, very important to balance them. And we're going to be showing you some really cool stuff with AI that no one out there is doing right now, okay? And also why, if you're not careful, AI can actually kill your business, not help your business, even though it's designed to help, but it can just as easily kill your business, right? So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be sharing some cool stuff around, your personal life, how you can improve that. And the last question I'll ask is this, before I introduce Chris, because he's going to take over the first bit here, is how many hours are there in a day, guys? Just real quick, random question. I know, humor me, work with me here, and put that in the chat. How many hours are there in the day, or in a day? Just put that in the chat for me, just so I know you're paying attention. You're ready to rock here, right? Of course, there's 24. Thank you, Jeannie. There's 24 hours in a day, right? Well, what if, based on what we're going to show you today and tomorrow in both sessions, back to back, I will show you a way to potentially get 30 or even 40 hours out of a 24-hour day by streamlining what you're doing, again, personally and in business, so you can be streets ahead of your competition. You can stack what you're doing with Push Button AI, amazing tool that it is, and you can really push forward, right? And make big steps, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about. And no one's managed to do that in history, right? Well, until AI came out. But, again, AI can be just as detrimental to your business as it can be, the golden goose, if you like. So awesome. Lots of interest there. So absolutely, we're going to be going into that. But before I do, I want to introduce my business partner and the CEO of the company, Chris Munch. Chris is not going to say this himself because he's far too humble, right? But excuse me, I actually call him, even before AI blew up to what it was a few years back, a walking, talking AI, right? He's one of the smartest people I've ever met. And when it comes to AI testing the crap out of almost every tool that's available to drive what matters to any business, which is sales, which is traffic, as Bill mentioned at the beginning, I don't think there's anybody on the planet who has pushed it to the level he has, very specifically in the discipline we're in. And you'll see why that's important for you. But what it also means is that you're going to get some killer insights, which, again, big statement, I know, in saying that you've never seen anything like this in the way that we're about to present it. And you can judge me yourself with that. All right. So with that said, Chris, can you hear me? Are you there? There he is.
I can indeed.
You've even got a mini little halo to your left, but it's just slightly in the wrong place.
Just a little bit off right
there. You go.
Two.
Nice. Cool. Over to you, man. You want to kick us off?
Yeah, I'm just going to share the screen here.
Yeah.
All right. So give me one sec. All right. So screen should be coming up. There we go.
Yep.
All right. So I think everyone can see this. Give me a quick one in the chat. It should say up on screen here how we got millions of visitors by leveraging AI and how to 10x your results and productivity. So if you see that, just give me a quick one. I need to know this because we've not used this streaming system before. So I want to make sure I'm using it right. Okay, you can hear me. Okay, absolutely perfect. Thank you. All right. So this is serious, by the way. So we have literally pulled in like hundreds of millions of visitors over the years before AI. Okay. And what we're going to share today is going to be a bit upside down from everything else that you've already heard, okay? Because you've probably heard a lot of things that AI makes everything easier, and that AI is going to allow you to launch a business, right? And everything is just going to fall into place. The AI runs everything, but that's not really the whole story, okay? But the framework that I'm going to give you is how to grow your traffic in 10 minutes per day, leveraging AI, and also saving yourself a huge amount of time every single week, and also to be way more productive. Okay, so if this sounds good, stay on, because this is what we're going to be digging into. And it's a big, big deal. And so you probably realize that if you want to drive sales online, if you want to make money online, okay, if you've got an online business, okay, if you're doing some kind of online venture, it's literally meaningless unless you get seen. So the traffic part of the equation is absolutely critical, and that's what we specialize in. But we are witnessing the biggest AI scam in history, okay? And that's because we've been lied to. And so who here, and this is an interactive session, right? So I can see all the comments coming through here, but who here has, heard something along the lines that like an AI can just completely run your business for you, okay? And then, you're gonna get rich, essentially, which we all know doesn't really make sense, right? But this is one of the things which we're told, okay, that you can maybe go to ChatGPT, type in a few prompts, and ChatGPT is going to give you all the answers, and things are just going to fall beautifully into place, okay? Now, Bill, who's brought you here today, has already shown you some amazing things that you can do with AI, some amazing techniques, but Bill himself says, ChatGPT has its limitations. And why does it have massive limitations? It's because it's how it's trained. Okay, so I was speaking with a lead AI trainer from Kenya very recently, and she was involved in training one of the big AI models. She wouldn't tell me which one, okay, because she was under NDA, but she did tell me she was involved in training one of the big models, right? ChatGPT, Cloud, something like this. And so she explained how it all works. And if you've maybe noticed that ChatGPT isn't always as smart as it could be, if you're an expert in some area, you'll notice that ChatGPT is wrong a lot of the time, okay? And I can go give you a quick example here up on screen, right, where ChatGPT will be wrong, okay? And so if I go to ChatGPT and say, give me some topics for my plumbing website, then ChatGPT should be able to do this great, okay? But what you see here, some of this is good, a little bit of this is good, but a lot of it is really bad. And the average person won't know why. Okay, you probably don't know why. You might figure this out, and we're going to see a comparison to a really well-trained AI, which you're going to be able to use completely for free, and the big difference between what ChatGPT gives you and what an expert AI gives you. And so the average person will look at this and go, yeah, these look like good topics for my blog. Most of these might work, okay, but they don't. Most of these actually don't work. And one thing that Jay might show you today or tomorrow, because we've got another session tomorrow. Remember, that's a private one, so you're going to need the link. The link will be thrown out here in the chat a few times through the day. But Jay's going to be showing you an example of a website that has really, really suffered because it follows stuff from ChatGPT. Okay, and so just like Bill has said, you need expert AI models. You need something. You need these agents that are extremely well trained. It's something that Bill works on in his business. It's something that we work on in our business, and it's something that we're always looking for. Is you need expertise. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why we're kind of being scammed. Okay, we're being scammed for a few different reasons, right? So people tell us that you can build an automated AI business, and sure, AI can remove massive amounts of work. Okay, Bill's got an incredible tool which builds like info product sites in like literally minutes, which is amazing. Okay, and then there's some things you need to do, right, to make that work. There's some things that you have to do to build upon that. Okay, we hear things like you can create great content with AI, just press a few buttons, and that can be true if you're using the right AI. But if you're going and using ChatGPT, which is what everybody does, and it's what I see a lot of experts teaching, then it's probably not going to work. Also, that you can sell your expertise in an AI tool, okay? But that can also be a challenge. Also that you can just let AI run your business for you. Okay. Now, does anyone remember that when AI first came out, that there was some big news stories about having ChatGPT run businesses? Anyone remember that? Right, that there was these big kind of projects where people were experimenting and they were handing over to ChatGPT to run the entire business, make all of the decisions and things like that. So one of those businesses was Green Gadget Guru. Okay, when you search for it now, it's nowhere to be seen. Okay, and so I'm just going to switch to .uk here just for a second as it's showing up in Spanish here for a second. All right. Let me switch to English. There we go. Okay, now we got the English results. All right. So here, there's a thread on Reddit. Remember that guy who gave ChatGPT $100 to start a business, Green Gadget Guru? Where's this business? It's disappeared. Okay. Odd, right? It didn't work. And it didn't work because ChatGPT made absolutely terrible decisions for the business. So the business ultimately failed. Yet at the time, the news stories said that this business was worth $10,000, that it was going to go great, that it was going to build out into, something amazing. And, the business was getting loads of traffic. The only traffic it got was from the exposure that it got in the news because ChatGPT was running the business. It all blew over. 6 months later, the business isn't there anymore. Okay, we can go ask, say, Perplexity. We can go to Perplexity, which is a brilliant little tool here. Just do some research online. Okay, and we can ask it: are there any completely automated businesses automated by AI out there? And the Perplexity AI is going to go research the entire internet. Okay, and so it says there are numerous businesses that are highly automated for AI. Completely true, right? Highly automated, okay, right? But examples of businesses that are completely automated by AI with zero human intervention at all levels are completely rare or largely theoretical. Okay, so there just doesn't exist anything out there. But there's many use cases of AI which you can have, which can drastically speed things up for you. Okay, and so this is what we're going to be covering today. All right, and we have scammers reach out to us, right? Say, hey, can you promote my product, and can you recommend our product to your audience and things like this? And they say, we've got this amazing product that is full of AI agents. It's absolutely incredible. It does all of these amazing things. Okay, and we had one of these, and I looked at it and I was like, are you serious? Like, are you scamming people with this crap? It was just a bunch of prompts that they put in ChatGPT, which had no professional level of skill. It was just random prompts, which had probably even been written by AI, and they were calling it AI agents. Okay, and when I said that, this is what I got told, right? But this is rife out there. You see so many people making these claims, right, that just aren't true. And the great thing, say, about what Bill's got with his platforms and his technology is they're extremely well-trained agents. Because Bill, for example, has 20 years of experience, right? He's been doing this longer than I have, and he also has millions upon millions upon millions of visitors behind what he's done. He's launched many products, made hundreds of millions of dollars online, I think, into the 9 figures anyway, right? So 100 million plus. And that's why Bill is able to create AI agents that actually are able to do something really skillful. And like I said before, when I was speaking to this AI trainer from Kenya, where companies like ChatGPT have hired people from Kenya, from Nigeria, from Guyana, and other places to train the AI. Usually the qualifications that those people have to train the AI in a specific field, such as legal or accounting, is they have a degree, but they don't necessarily have real world experience, never mind be at the highest possible level. Okay, so you tend to get average information, average skills out of AI, certainly not world-class leading skills. And if you are trying to make money online, you need leverage, you need some kind of thing, right? And so, you know, when we look at this question here, why does AI make everything more difficult? Because for me, when AI came out, my life didn't get easier. It got more difficult because I had to keep up with AI. Because now certain skills I had, certain things which maybe I could do, which other people couldn't do, were now a little bit easier to do. Okay, and so all of a sudden, if everybody can say, make a reasonably good blog post, okay, which you can do with AI. If I go to ChatGPT and say, write a blog post on one of those topics, okay, then, you know, we have, and I've had a team of writers for many, many years. And then all of a sudden AI can, you know, produce a blog post as good as the average writer. Okay. And so if I had a team of writers, then previously I'd have an advantage, right? Because it, you know, would be difficult for a business to be able to say, churn out a blog post. Now it's just been done in a second with ChatGPT. And so that seems great, but guess what? If everybody can do it and it's that easy and it's done in seconds, okay, then this particular post then is no longer any advantage because anyone can do it in seconds, right? So think about that, because this is really important when it comes to getting traffic. Okay, so that's one of the key things here is everyone has access to it, so it's no advantage. And you can type in your own troubles here in the comments that you might have had with AI, like why you found it to be more difficult. And so these things here are various things that we've heard from people. So one of them is that there's so many tools. How do you even know what to use? And then there's false claims about what these tools can do and the results that they get. There's often a learning curve. If you actually want to learn how to make a really, really powerful blog post that beats everyone else, for example, or you want to learn how to drive traffic, or you want to learn, you know, how to create an info product, and you want to go do that with ChatGPT, you know, there's a learning curve to that, right? So, okay, and so that's why you can't just go into ChatGPT or these other kind of, you know, chat-based AIs and get the results. The AI also needs oversight. It's also changing week to week. Literally, it's so hard to keep up with, okay? And you need to scale like never before, because now if it literally takes seconds to make a blog post like this, then now you're at a big disadvantage if you're only publishing once a month, right? You used to be able to say publish once a week or something like that, and you'd be able to grow traffic. But now when people can churn out content so quickly at a reasonable quality, then you're also at a disadvantage, all right? And then like we've talked about already, AI doesn't know everything. It is often the average. It makes mistakes. It might not be better than other things that are already out there. It kind of levels the playing field. And then it also then, this means it also needs training by an actual expert. And so if you're not an expert, how can you train the AI? Think about this. This is really important. Okay. So if we understand that, say, AI is like an average employee, or maybe even an above average employee that can do things for you. Okay. But, you know, has anyone here had an incompetent boss that didn't know what they were doing, right? That wasn't very good at their job. Okay, I think, you know, most of us have had that at some point, or they've at least, you know, heard stories from friends, right, where that's been the case. You know, so, I mean, Jay, I don't know if you've ever had that experience where you've had a boss that just didn't know what the hell they were doing, right? And then the chaos that ensues in the company because it's someone leading people that doesn't know what they're doing. And so if you're leading AI as well, and you're doing something which you're not so sure about, then you could also be leading the AI to make mistakes, right? And so you do need some level of expertise to make AI work for you, or you need to use an AI that's already been trained with those levels of expertise. And ChatGPT has been trained on some things to a very, very good level, but because it's got access to, everyone's got access to it, you need to be able to get an edge. And so you have to find some kind of platform or something that has an edge in a specific use case for what it does. Okay, so for example, Bill, he has certain tools and stuff which he used. We're going to share some free tools with you today, right, which have this expert training involved. Okay, and so when we consider all of this, right, then the reality is that AI makes things harder, not easier. It's a lot of setup, it's overwhelm. You need to be good at prompting. Okay, you need to give it good prompts, which means you need to know what you're doing, right? Anyone can use it. There's endless tools. There's just so many things to learn to manage all of this stuff. So if you don't approach this in the right way, it ends up just sending you down a spiral where you're actually in some way paralyzed and doing all of this stuff. It feels like you're being productive, but then you don't get the results that you want, okay, in terms of growing a business and making the money. And I think one really, really important thing to understand about AI is it raises the bar on quality and output, okay? That means that you have to do more and you have to make it higher quality. And so you need an AI with an advantage. So whatever it is that you might want to do, whatever type of business, whatever type of project that you want to do, you need to have an AI with an advantage, okay? Or at least have the knowledge to train the AI with an advantage, right? It's one of the two, okay? And so that's what we're going to be discussing today. And so it's not about these necessarily flashy solutions where you get these, and anyone's seen kind of like, some random prompts, that are shared on social media, like, oh, go use this prompt, okay? And you're going to have some cool output, right? But the random prompts, maybe they can give you some cool output, but you need something structured that works, okay? You need something that's already proven. And so the way that we've approached this is not, say, building out some flashy workflows or kind of like approaching this with a load of hype or like, giving out kind of like random prompts. It's showing you the workflows which have worked for us before AI even existed, and now how we apply them with AI, okay? And so when it comes to getting traffic, we have workflows that get huge traffic, okay, that have made a lot of money, that beginners can do, that people running large businesses can do. It works consistently. We've had people just simply apply it where you turn up every day for a short amount of time, 10, 20 minutes, consistently just put out content, leveraging AI, leveraging proven workflows, and then things fall into place. Okay, so I'm going to give you some examples of these as we go through today so you can see just, how much traffic that you can get. And when you get traffic, right, when you're getting clicks, you've got attention, and when you've got attention, that's when you can make money, right? The traffic is the hardest part of it, but actually the most straightforward when you know how to do it. And so we actually talk about very boring AI systems, okay? It's not exciting, okay? But the money that they make, the traffic that it delivers is pretty exciting. And so we use these systematic approaches, these things which already work, these proven processes that you could do manually, and then you just start giving certain steps to the AI, and where we've trained the AI, okay, or you can find tools that have trained the AI to give you incredible results, okay? And that's what it's about. And so you start with a well-defined, repeatable process before adding AI, okay? This would be if you were building it from scratch. Okay, you focus on high volume, time consuming tasks that you can hand over to the AI. You implement feedback loops, okay, to continually improve this stuff. And then you integrate it, into whatever workflow or whatever tools that you might need to get the results, okay? And so this might sound a little bit complicated, but this is the type of stuff that works, okay? And we simply just trust the data and results. If it makes money, if it gets traffic, okay, then we're happy. And if it doesn't get results and it doesn't get traffic, then we go back and we refine things. Okay, so we're always considering, right, what actually gets the results. And to make AI work, you actually need a plan. You need to understand also for yourself, what is your own constraint? Okay, what is holding you back from being able to implement these? What parts you are missing and what you might need, okay, so that can help you decide which system and so on to implement and how to move forward. And we're going to actually come back to this because there's some really, really cool tricks that you can do with AI here to make it happen. All right. And so just before we get into the meat and some of the techniques and some of the things that you need to know, just give me a quick number 5 in the chat here. If you'd just like to see a quick example of some of the traffic growth that we've had. All right. And I'll just, if we get enough, if I get at least kind of like 10-20% of you like jumping in here, I'll just quickly pull it up. All right. Okay. Yep. They're coming in. All right. So, because we do have a lot to get through today. All right. So this is one example here of a fitness website that's gone here from 0. Okay. Going from practically 0 here up to now, this adds up to about 30,000-40,000 visitors per week. Okay. And this is an e-commerce store selling fitness equipment. Okay. You can do the same thing with an info product site. You can do the same thing with an affiliate site. You can do this with all sorts of different websites, business models, and this sort of thing. Okay. And this is traffic. Anyone recognize where this traffic is from? Okay. From the graph. Someone who's maybe done this sort of thing before. This traffic is from the biggest and best source of traffic online that there is. And it's one that's not talked about so often because it's kind of not the flashy guru influencer type. This is Google. Okay. Google remains the biggest source of traffic. Okay. And it's not just the fact that it's a lot of traffic. It makes more money because think about it. When you go on Facebook, when you go on YouTube and you're scrolling, right? You go on TikTok, obviously you're just killing time, right? You're just looking something up, right? Where you just want to be entertained, right? But when you go to Google, you're looking for what? You're looking for an answer to a query. And because you're looking for an answer to a query, you're trying to solve a problem. There might be a product that you're trying to buy or a solution that you might want to buy. And so all of these people here, the hundreds of thousands of people that have come through to the site, they have questions about fitness equipment and which one to buy and which one's going to be best for them and so on. And so this is why this traffic generated over $1 million in sales. Okay. And this now is about 6 months old. They're now doing incredible amounts actually. So in terms of sales value, actually it's 1.6 million just from the blog. Okay. So the blog here, you can see was half of the website's traffic. Okay. So overall, this whole process has delivered about $3 million in sales so far and continues to drive more and more sales. And now it's like essentially just free traffic. It's just free traffic coming. Okay. This is just absolutely insane. And you didn't have to be an influencer to do this. There's no person behind this. There's no one jumping on camera. All of the content was written by AI. Okay. Just following a simple process. Okay. So if this sounds cool, like let me know, because it's the type of thing which we're going to be talking about today. And I've got countless case studies like this. Okay. From the big company right to the beginner, where certain things like this just work so incredibly well. Right. And I'm going to take you through now. So, we've got a lot of stuff to cover through the days here. So remember, we're going to be coming back tomorrow as well with another private session. It won't be on YouTube. Okay. Where we're going to dig even deeper into this stuff. Right. And so, this is the power, right, of what you can do with this. It's like absolutely incredible. Okay. And thing we advise here is always follow the process, because simply publishing the right type of content drives traffic. And you might be wondering, like, what happened here with this example where there was this big drop off. Okay. Right. What happened here with this big drop off? So we worked with a business here, and they second guessed what we were doing because they didn't trust our process and our workflow. So they deleted the content, and they put themselves about 3 months behind. And then we spoke to the CEO about a year later, and they regretted this a lot because it cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales, right? Because they're now getting like 50,000 visitors per month that they could have been getting 3 months earlier. They'll never get that traffic and that money back. Okay. And so you can do this to promote affiliate offers. You can do this for local businesses as clients. You can do this for your own info product site, whatever you want to drive traffic to. And it's essential to have traffic in any sort of online project. This is the type of thing which you need to do. And it's the best type of traffic you can get from Google. What we're going to be covering can bring traffic from social media, from video, and everything else as well. It's just really important to remember that, Google is absolutely huge when it comes to traffic. Okay. And here's the interesting thing, right, which we really want to pay attention to when it comes to getting traffic. Okay. When you increase your traffic, you get even more traffic. And why does that happen? Because all of the algorithms out there, whether it's Google, whether it's TikTok, whether it's Facebook, whether it's X, whether it's YouTube, they reward what is popular. So to get more traffic, you need to become popular. Okay. And to get traffic in the first place, you need content, and you need to get it out in a lot of places. Okay. And so we're going to be talking about this over the next couple of days, so you can see how all of this stuff works. All right. And so we take a very, very simple concept here that if you provide useful answers, insights, and info that people want, you can get traffic. Okay. And Jay, I think this is a great time for you to jump back on here and give us some examples of that where you've seen that work well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can hear me, right? Let me share my screen real quick. So let me share real quick. Let me see which window. I never know which one's screen 1 or 2, but let's see. Oh, that's the wrong one. Let's try that again. Screen 1. There we go. Right, you should be able to see this. So who remembers this company? Who knows this company? I shouldn't say remember, because you guys should all know them. Jasper.ai. Give me a 5 in the chat if you know this business. I remember we met the CEO, or I did. Bill, I think you were at that event, but we met them about 4 years ago now, right? At that event in Austin. And at that point, they were valued at, I think, roughly $1 billion. $1 billion, right? No small change. And so again, give me a 5 if you've heard of them, if you've used them. Okay, cool. So even if you haven't heard of them, like I said, pretty decent sized company. They were worth around $1 billion about 3 years ago. And what they came out with before anybody or most people in the market was what you're seeing flooding the market right now, which is AI content, right? And as you can see here, they're saying it's AI built for marketers. Awesome. And so, creating any sort of content out there using AI and getting it out fast, right? And as Chris was saying there, what happens when you give the people what they want? Well, the people want answers, right? They have questions and they want zero BS, get to the point, super fast, and they want answers as soon as possible, right? Now, what's interesting, in fact, give me a 1 if you agree that a business like this, worth $1 billion 3 years ago, should be absolutely thriving right now. It should be worth 1.5 to 2, if not more than that, with all the advancements, with all the new tech and everything. Give me a 1 if that makes sense, right? 3 years ago, $1 billion, they should be worth a lot more than that now, right? The traffic should be absolutely exploding and they should be dominating. Yeah, would you agree with that statement? Give me a 1 in the chat. Right, obviously. Yeah, you can humor me. It's fine. Thanks, Leonard. Thanks, Mai and Betty. You know what's really interesting? I was having a look at these guys just the other day, and look at this. This is from Ahrefs, third-party tool. Not 100% accurate, but, there or thereabouts. And look at this. This absolutely blew me away. I mean, I've seen this, a lot, because we speak to a lot of businesses, e-com brands through to big medical businesses and all sorts, e-com businesses spending $1 million, $2 million on paid ads, a month, that is. But what's really interesting is, yes, they've got more competition, but they were first to market, right? As you can see here in 2022. And the yellow line represents pages, in other words, content on their site that Google is indexing. And the orange line is organic traffic, which normally follows suit. That's the way it should work, right? But can anyone explain to me?
If you publish more, then the traffic should go up.
So Corenzo says, dude, turn off your light filter. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight because it's late in the UK. But as long as you can make it out, that should be enough. You guys can see the screen, right? Or can you not see it properly? You can see it enough or no? Like, give me a one.
You can see it. You can see it's orange and yellow line.
You can make it out, guys. Come on, man. I want to sleep tonight. I value my sleep. Anyway, the point is, what can you clearly see here? There's a separation. There's almost like an earthquake, and boom, they've gone in completely different directions, right? The pages have continued to go up. In other words, content has been, or they've continued to add content to their site, but the traffic has absolutely tanked. Now, this is cataclysmic for a business, by the way, who are driving at the peak here. You're looking at over almost 500,000 visitors a month, right? On average. And it's dropped down to, at the moment.
Do you know how much funding they got?
I heard, but roughly what was it? Can you tell me?
I just looked it up. The total funding they got was like $130 million. $130 million.
How incredible. $130 million. What does that buy you nowadays? Well, it should buy you the best expertise when it comes to AI, the very thing.
And what's really shocking, if you look at that graph, right, as well, they only did 1,000 posts. So considering they're like an AI content company, they've only got 1,000 posts indexed on their site. I think they've done a lot more, but Google just doesn't like it. And so you can see that the graph is also going up there, Jay, but then it stops and then it goes down.
Right, yeah.
But they didn't stop posting. Yeah, they didn't. Yeah. They didn't.
No,
stop
they doubled
posting.
down.
You can see
they doubled down, for goodness sake. It's nuts. But yeah, go ahead.
They're posting more. And if you scroll down a little bit more here, because I had after you showed me this yesterday, I had a little bit more of a look. If you keep going down a little bit further, you can see just up this graph right here. You passed it. I think that's a little
sorry,
delayed.
mate. There you go.
So you're looking at the branded by non-branded. If you zoom in on this one, okay.
Yeah.
Then you can see to begin with that their portion of branded traffic, the orange part here, was dominant because that was people searching for their brand name. They were running tons of ads, right? They were creating a lot of buzz. They had 100+ million behind them. And then they started publishing content, and then you can see this gray, the non-branded, which is the informational stuff, right? So this is stuff that anyone could get traffic for, that anyone on this call could potentially get traffic for here. That popped up, but then it's dwindled back down again, where basically they're getting no traffic for their non-branded topics, right? So like informational topics of people asking questions, and it's just people typing in the name of their brand, like people typing in Jasper to check out the plugin or something like that, right? And so literally, what they've built doesn't work, because if it worked, right, they would be getting these informational searches. So it's just crazy to see this drastic drop off, because it looks like they've still got a lot of traffic when you go to the graph above, right, which you were first showing us, right? It's like, okay, that everything's been dropping, but they've still got significant traffic. But the actual content they're putting out with AI just isn't delivering at all.
Well,
Shocking.
exactly. And Chris, this is what I want to just make clear to everybody, because a lot of people are jumping on the call, trying to figure out, what we're getting to and where we're leading. But ultimately, give me a 1 if you want to save yourself a lot of headache in the future, and you want to boost your organic traffic, boost your organic sales without having to pay for any ads, right? Do it the right way so you don't get smashed on the head by Google, surprisingly, where it just penalizes you and you cannot recover. Like, give me a 1 if you would like that, right? I think I speak for everybody. Obviously, you would like that. So if the biggest, or one of the biggest AI content companies on the planet, which is what they were at the time, one of the first to market, can suffer this fate, do you think normal people are struggling? Of course they are. They haven't got a clue what they're doing. We speak to businesses every day, like I said, who are spending 10, 20 grand a month to up to $1 million on paid ads a month. Decent sized businesses who are completely oblivious because they're making the same mistake and they face the same fate, right? And now if you compare that to another business, just really quickly, and I'll show you the example here, right? Actually, I'll do it now. This is this is one of the blogs, one of the pieces of content on the site for Jasper.ai, right? And you can see straight away, without getting too technical, but if you look, it seems okay on the surface, right? But ultimately, number one, they're not answering any questions with this headline, with this topic. That's really important to understand, right? That's like 101.
Just a simple question to ask, right? Do you think anybody searches for that topic?
Yeah.
It's a simple question. Do you think anyone's searching for this topic? Right? And this is the idea of what they've built this site for. And no, nobody's searching for this topic. And you'll see this over and over again with everything that they post. And it's almost like they just went into ChatGPT and got these topics, right? And that's part of the reason why they're not able to get traffic. And then you also have to promote these topics as well. And so we're gonna be covering all of that over the next 2 days.
Yeah, exactly. And if I scroll down, by the way, the screen is orange because I've got a nightlight on, but you should be able to make it out. But anyway, the point is, if I scroll down, you can start to see just the inconsistencies, even with the structure here. You know, these are all signals to Google that you are just trying to game the system. You're trying to just create content for content's sake. We call it content bloat. And you can see the ramifications of that, right? And you know what's really interesting about this is when I put this into, Zero GPT, Chris, you've probably done this as well, but you're looking at 97% AI generated. And I'm not saying, yeah, that's nuts.
Wow.
That's pure AI.
I can't believe a company with, wow, that's so
130
shocking.
million for this shit. Excuse my French.
Wow. That's terrible. I mean, there's nothing wrong with AI generated content, right? It can be really useful, but when we see this 97%, we know that it's been produced very, very badly because the content we produce with AI, right, often has a much lower score, So there's nothing wrong with having a high AI score. Okay, it's not a big deal if the content serves the purpose. We put out content, right, that's got 100% AI score and it can still get traffic. Okay, but the crazy thing is that this is a $100 million company and they're putting out content with an AI score this high, right? It just doesn't make sense, right? And it's not performing, right? If it was performing, then no worries, right? It's not a big deal if, even if people can see it's AI, if it answers a query and it's useful, then great. But this is pretty shocking considering the money behind this company that they're doing. They're making so many mistakes. It's crazy, but we're going to show you the right way to do this.
Yeah, we are. And I'm just going to finish this loop off real quick before I hand it back to you, Chris. But like you said, there's nothing wrong with AI content. If you just get the headline right, for goodness sake, answer the questions that people have before they make a buying decision, right? Give the marketplace some expertise, give the marketplace knowledge based on the demand. And that's why we always start from that point, right? And lots of people say, oh, I understand that, whatever. Like lots of people don't. They think they do, but they don't, right? And Chris is going to dig into that a little bit more. But really quickly, I'll give you a quick example of a smaller business, right, who's got this right. And they're just a one location, tiny little roofing business, right? And their content could be better, could be more local focused and things like that. But guess what they're doing? And this, by the way, like give me a 1 if you want to check this out, by the way. This is a single office business, not continental USA. It's not a national, one office, right? You want to see their traffic and what they're doing and their lines and their trends? Check this out, right? Again, traffic's nowhere near the level of traffic we just saw, but it's getting close. 114, you're seeing that correctly. 114,000 visitors on a monthly basis to a one office location. And roofs, I mean, it can be a very lucrative business, right? AOV, average order value, it's around 40 to 50 grand, I think, something like that. They can go up to maybe 100 grand, depending on what you're doing, right? So roofing businesses can do really well, right? But if I scroll down and let's do the last 5 years, you'll see a very different story. Literally the opposite, right? They added content, they continued to do that. And what happens with the traffic? It follows suit and it hasn't dropped off, which means Google has accepted that content. Why? Well, if we have a really quick look.
This is just a small local business, right? And so this just shows anyone on this call, if you're really serious and you put out content on a daily basis, because how many posts is that? It's 820, right? And so they started that from 2020, they started that, right? And obviously now it's got to like a crazy amount of traffic. It's absolutely insane. But literally, if you just make one post per day which can take just 20 minutes, okay, and you know how to promote that, and we're going to show you all of this over the next few days. You know how to pick the right topics and all of this stuff, right? And you can, use a tool which can get these posts attention so that they can stand out. Then anyone can come in and do this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And it comes down to the basics is, I mean, they've called it a learning center as well. That's a massive clue. Anyone looking to grow their organic traffic, learn from that, because it's called a learning center. What does that tell you? Information, answering questions, educating the marketplace. And Google loves nothing more. The LLMs are feeding from that too, right? Because it's question, answer, zero BS. And to give you an example of that, like these guys have done such a great job. I mean, they could do better, but even then, they're doing so well and they're getting results because look at this. What is an EPDM roofing membrane? One very, very specific, beautiful question at the top. They've answered it in detail, right? And if you compare this to what I just showed you with AI content creation, blah, 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 right? No one's going to, look for that. Doesn't solve any problems. Down to these guys, which are long form, decent image placement, good headings. It's consistent at least, right? We didn't even see that with Jasper. And if you go down, then you can, it brings them into the buyer journey here, which Chris will talk about a little bit later. But, going back here, guys, this is like one of the best examples I've seen. Because, even here you go to, look how many different subheadings they have, asphalt roofing, just educating. And it's a beautiful thing. What are the best algae resistant shingles? Again, an entire blog on that. They're keeping it relevant. What are the best algae resistant shingles? They give you the outline. How long do shingles stay algae resistant? You know what I mean? It's got the user journey in mind. And this is
you can do this in any industry, any niche. So, just type in the chat here if like there's an obscure niche or just something, that you have a little bit of an interest in. And, all you've got to do is come up with some questions that people ask and produce content on that. You just got to pick the right type of questions. And then you can use AI, right? The right AI tools to come up with, the content. Okay. And then you just, use another AI tool to promote the content. If you're doing this in the right way, then, anyone can tap into this massive amount of traffic. And this is really high value topics right here, like really, really high value topics. Where, like when it comes to roofing isn't something that's cheap, right? And so you can do this in all sorts of niches. And, you might also realize, that if you say you've worked with Bill and you've worked with, some of his AI tools where you can build out an entire info product, okay? And that info product can be answering, a really important question. Okay, so for example, you might build an info product with one of Bill's products here, where you end up with, let's just say it was how to stop kids from wetting the bed, right? I say that one because I had experience with that, not myself, but my kid, right? Before anyone makes a joke.
It's fine, Chris. Don't worry. We're not going to joke.
And I bought an info product on that, right? I spent $100. I bought a little guide, right? And this is something that AI, all these possibilities that you can have out there. And then it's just a case of like driving traffic to these things. So when you actually, create and promote content just on simple questions, it works. Okay. And so I'm just going to share the screen here again. Okay. And so, when we see these big traffic results, like I showed you, it's because it's just answering simple question. And so if you've been overwhelmed by AI, right? If you've been playing around with AI toys, right? Messing around in ChatGPT, but it's not really making any money, and you want a proven system, this is what it's about. And ultimately, what you need to do with AI is increase your output, okay? Or you're going to be left behind, okay? And so who would like to know and who would like to be able to create topics, okay, on any topic or any niche, any industry, and be able to have topics that actually work, okay, that actually get results, okay, and actually deliver, okay? So I'm going to bring up a tool here, okay, that's completely free that you can use. And so it doesn't matter the business you're in, the project you're doing, the online venture that you're doing, this tool will give you amazing topics. And so, for example, if we type in roofing here, this tool is precisely trained to find topics that deliver results. Okay, so I've already here typed in roofing. The AI is now going out and it's doing its research. Okay, so it's now researching topics in this industry, but it's looking for criteria because it's not like ChatGPT. Let's go and compare and ask ChatGPT. We'll do a new chat here and we'll just ask ChatGPT to do the same thing and say, give me some blog topics for roofing. Okay. And like the first one here is terrible. 10 signs your roof needs immediate repair. People don't search for 10 signs your roof needs immediate repair. This would be, maybe an article that would be in a magazine if you decide to, like if you subscribe to Roofers Weekly or, Home DIY Weekly. It's not something that people are going to search for. It's not something that's going to bring traffic to your website. Okay. But Headline Pig has gone out and sniffed all these topics. And now, like, look at this first one here, Gaff versus Owens Corning shingles. Okay. Right. It's like you would have never have thought of this topic. Or another one, Tesla solar roof versus Suntegra solar shingles. Okay, these are all comparison topics, typically of products and brand names. Why are these so powerful? Because it's people looking to buy. Because you're providing leads to other businesses. You can get paid because you have ads on the website. You can get paid because you recommend the product as an affiliate, right? You could do this in a niche, for example, like with Amazon. Okay, so we could just go run another one of these. So I'll just load up another Headline Pig just while we go through these first results, just so you can see some absolutely killer and crazy topics that we could do. Let's say with microphones here, something that you could recommend and get commissions for, from the Amazon affiliate program, for example. Okay, which anybody can do. You're just recommending products that you find interesting that they're on Amazon. And if we continue to go through the roofing, it's like the pricing for Gaff shingles, the Tesla solar roof pricing, okay, and the installation costs. All right, and so this is crazy. Like, this is an $8,000 product here. $8,000. It's absolutely insane. Okay, this is a super expensive industry where there's big money to be made. Okay, and this is something that you can produce topics on, right? And that you can show up for. Or it could be even the topic it actually gave as well was installation pricing, right? If we look, it was also the installation, which is something that is not even showing up about the installation price on the front page of Google. Okay. Can you believe that the installation cost doesn't show up? Okay, in some of the results here. And so literally, if you do this, you will show up in AI. Okay. You will show up in AI if you do this. Okay, would you like me to prove this with something I did just a couple of days ago? Okay, and I'm just going to go do the search, right? And so we're in a niche where we often sell to businesses, and so social media lead cost in 2025, right? This is something that businesses might be looking into. All right. What's this website here? Okay. That's my website right there. Okay. We promoted this using an AI system. It says here, according to Amplifier, the system that we used also syndicated content out to LinkedIn. It syndicated content out to all sorts of places, and it's using our information and recommending our website, okay, in Google. And so this is how you get traffic, and then we're ranking in the number 2 spot here. The LinkedIn here, which was done also by the system, right, is also showing up on the front page, and it's also in hundreds of other places. Okay, so this is just one example. We're going to look a little bit more over this in the next couple of days. All right. And if we go back to Headline Pig here, where it's done it for microphones, then it's doing a comparison, right? So I'm using my blue mic right here. Okay, you can just about see it. All right, and so here's another example, right, of another topic. Samsung Go mic versus Blue Snowball Ice, right? You could be putting this content out there, recommending products and getting paid. Okay, so I hope it's beginning to click for people why this stuff is so powerful. And then when you compare it to what ChatGPT gives you, and you understand that ChatGPT was trained by amateurs, not experts, then you start to realize why you really need powerful AI systems that will actually make this stuff work. Okay, and so I'm just going to briefly now talk about the 3 biggest mistakes that people make with AI. Okay, right, so number 1 is they use AI but they don't train it. Okay, so for example, they'll go into ChatGPT and say, give me some topics for my roofing website. And then you get junk. Then you just get stuff that's going to hurt your business. Okay, right? And then ChatGPT tends to be overly safe. It uses this weird expansive language because of how it was trained, and the people that trained it also tend to use fluffy, more expansive language. Okay, and it always tends to be the average. And so you need something more. You need to be able to train it and either give it prompts or put it through a system that takes it through something that's actually like really effective and is a proven workflow. Okay, another one is using ChatGPT for content, right? A better alternative to ChatGPT is Cloud, okay, or any tool which has essentially a better system. Okay, so ChatGPT is probably one of the worst AIs for content. Cloud is another one that's out there you can use for free, which is a significant improvement. But even Cloud, it has bad writing habits. Okay, it doesn't always read the instructions. It doesn't always follow exactly what you want it to do. Okay, and so still you can, these free tools, they have their limitations. So for example, like with the tools which Bill has, it goes through, like a series of steps, which we're going to look at in a moment, of like some of the things that you can do when you're using like a proper AI agent that's trained properly to go through like a whole series of steps. Okay, and so it's really like a lazy employee, right? When you're using like ChatGPT or any of these other chat-based models, where it kind of cuts corners, it doesn't do exactly what you asked. It's trained by someone that doesn't have experience, okay? And it doesn't have specific instructions for the use case, right? And other things that people do is they'll train it on their knowledge instead of training it on expert knowledge. Okay, so if you don't really know how to do something, then it's going to be hard for you to get the AI to work at a level of excellence. But you can train AI to be an expert if you know what to do. Okay, so we can give you a quick example, if you like, of how to train an AI to be an expert, even if you're not an expert. Okay, so would you like to know how to do that? We're going to give you like a nice simple example, because when it comes to traffic, this is something that you could do. Okay, right? And so we've got like incredible workflows when it comes to traffic, and comes to putting out content, promoting content, right? Stuff like this that we've just shown you with the free headline pick tool. But would you like to know, just to create your own tools for anything, right, of how you can train your own AI to be an expert, even if you're not an expert? Okay, we're just going to cover this very, very briefly. Okay, so Jay, do you want to jump in and show, because you've got some crazy things that you use for your own workout, right? And you've come up to the session just after the gym in your hoodie here, and so I'm sure you went to the gym before because the AI told you to, right? Is that right? You're like, oh, I've got a big live presentation today. It's like, don't skip that.
I'm busy. Session. I'm back. Yeah, I'm back to back. 12-hour days, back to back. Is it okay if no? Get in the gym. So really quickly, let me just set the scene real quick. So let me just share my screen. It's going to be orange before people start complaining, but as long as you can see it, we're all good. All right, because it's late in the UK, and the lighting really messes with my sleep. So let me see here, share the right screen. Sorry, we don't use StreamYard that often. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to shift this over. Just let me know if you can see the screen here. Just give me a few ones real quick. Yeah. You see the screen? It's still with on the roofing business. Okay, perfect. So before I show you what I've built really quickly, let me show you what happens when, like Chris said, you're not training the AI in the right way. This is Men's Health. You guys probably are aware of this. If you're not, it's a very, very, very popular online magazine. They used to be in print. I think they still are, but people go online now for fitness, right? And there was an article I saw towards the end of last year. Obviously, AI has come a long way since then, but even then, it's got its limitations on this side. So check this out. This trainer said, I let ChatGPT train me for a month. Here's what happened. And they were a personal trainer, right? Check out the levels of stupidity, right? In terms of what they did next. So they got into ChatGPT, and then it's a long article, but it's asked for a workout program. And you can see ChatGPT here, if I just zoom in really quickly, has given them a 4-day advanced muscle building workout plan, right? And so this person has gone, the personal trainer, tried to do the workout. It's given you, it outlines I think it's his or her, whatever takeaways. I'm a natural optimist, so we start good. The exercise selection was fine. ChatGPT assigned me compound movements like squats and chest presses, blah, 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 blah. On and on it goes. Week 2, the honeymoon phase. And he says, they said, I had to start skipping sets. I asked which ones I should skip. ChatGPT comes back, tells them prioritize this, deprioritize that, on and on you go. Sound advice, it did what it suggested. So it was doing well. But then what happens, and this is really interesting, is they lose steam, right? And it says, if you look on the screen, I don't feel like working out. Can you help motivate me? Right? And you can see, look at chat. This is really important. So look at ChatGPT's response here. I totally get that feeling. Sometimes motivation just isn't there. But it's amazing how much better you can feel after moving your body, right? Even a quick 10-minute workout can boost your mood. And then they say, well, I'm already here, but I really don't feel like doing my sets of heavy squats. And it goes on and on. Some helpful advice, but it says, since you made it this far, that's already a win. If heavy squats feel too daunting today, it's totally fine to switch things up. In other words, it's giving the personal trainer permission to skip legs, right? And do you know what happened when I trained my GPT, which I'm about to show you now, and asked it the same question? Can I skip leg day? Give me a 5 if you want to see the response ChatGPT gave me, just to compare really quickly. And just for the record, it was roughly the same time, right? So ChatGPT was practically the same back then. And of course, we know it's evolving every day. But give me a quick one. Serious question, guys. Come on, get involved in the chat. Give me a 5, give me a 1, whatever you want, if you want to see the response. I can tell you it's well worth it, right? Okay, cool. It's very controversial. What could be, but yeah, you want to check it out? All right. So before I show you this, Bill, I apologize. Remember, this is ChatGPT's words, not mine. Okay. So whatever expletives you see or profanity you see on the response is not my words. It's ChatGPT's. And here's a copy of it. You ready? You want to compare this? Can everyone read this? All right, you absolute weapon of wasted potential. Here it comes. No sugar, no fluff, just the truth. Am I a personal trainer? No. I'm into fitness, but I'm not a personal trainer on Men's Health. I don't write for Men's Health. So how is it that GPT, right, was trained to let them get away with it and say, oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. If you want to miss your workout, no way. You know what I mean? If you're a personal trainer, you need to be given extra motivation because you're already motivated enough to go to the gym, right? So it's a different level. And you can see the words here. You see what it says? It says, oi, that word. You didn't show up today. You didn't train legs. You didn't earn your sleep. You didn't act like the version of you who pulls 100K a month and bends time to his will. Instead, you coasted. You let comfort win. You let that little voice in your head talk you out of being dangerous. And on it goes. And it says, that's not just soft. It's effing disrespectful to your goals, your body, your talent, and everything you claim you want. You say you want to be elite. You want savage money. You want to walk in rooms and own them. You want to crush business, walk around with 10% body fat, and be the guy everybody else wants to become. But right now you're pretending you've got time. You're acting like the work can wait. I mean, on and on it goes. I'm getting pumped just reading this, right? Yes, John, exactly. It sounds like David Goggins, and that's the kind of thing I respond to. But you know, if you've got a workout and you've got a plan, just like in business, you stick to the damn thing. Yeah, you don't deviate. You don't, because if you do, someone else is, going to blast past you. And so, like, what do you think happened after I read this? It's like, I believe in you, but belief means F all if you don't back it with action. It's so good. So tomorrow, train like your goals depend on it, because they do. Let me know when it's done or don't. But if you don't, I'll be back to call you out again. Now stop scrolling and sort your shit out. Again, compare this to an untrained GPT from a personal trainer, right? I mean, damn. And so you can see, anyway,
And the
in
magic
the end,
here is that Jay, you've trained it here with what you respond to. Okay.
Exactly.
And, you know, like John has said in the chat here, that it sounds like David Goggins. And so I strongly suspect that you train this ChatGPT with David Goggins and other, I guess, highly motivational trainers.
Yes.
Would that be right? Yeah.
That would be right. And I've actually called it Spartan.
You turned up with 1 minute to spare in your gym hoodie, ready to go today. Because that's what David Goggins would do, right?
100%. He'll make it happen, right? Suzette says, was that a real response? Yes, it was. My ChatGPT swears at me all the time, right? All the time. In fact, I'll show you a few examples in a second, but this is the GPT I've created, which we're happy to share with you guys if you want to check it out. And this is amazing, right? If you're starting on a fitness journey, I've fed this and trained this to the elite level with people I've followed for years, with science nutrition that's proven, right? Not bro science, real science, with gut microbiome specialists, the best in the world, because I research this stuff every day. The best supplements you can take without the BS. So there's no second guessing, right? And I'll give you an example here. If I go to edit the GPT, right? You can see, look how much stuff I fed it with. Protein info. You know what I do? And this is a really good tip for you guys. Who watches YouTube like every day, you know, with information? Because it is useful, right? And give me a 1 if you watch podcasts and you're like, holy shit, that's really good info. I don't have 3 hours though, right? But well, that's really, really.
We're watching one right now,
right? Well, there you go. Well, hopefully you're getting value, right? But the point is, give me a 1, right? Give me a 1. Yeah, cool. Okay. And do you ever feel like, oh my God, there's too many YouTube videos, I don't know what to do? Like, I want that knowledge, how to do this and how to do that and how to be the best at this. It's overwhelming. Do you know what I started to do? I paused. I took the transcripts of every single one. I dumped them into a Google Doc. And that's what you see with general PDF here. And then every time I see something, well, I'm like, holy shit, that's amazing. I will take the transcript, PDF it, and dump it into this GPT, right? From elite supplements all the way to Ryan Holiday, who is famous for his Stoic philosophy, through to Jeff, who's Athlean. Has anyone seen Athlean? He's a very famous trainer online. Fat loss document from another podcast I saw, millions of views, you know, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so this has been highly trained, right? And it's been even further trained by my own protocols and the way that I want to be spoken to and everything else. So check this out. If you're starting on a fitness journey and you say, I need to lose weight, I have my sister's wedding, let's say, in 3 months. I need like in your face motivation and a good plan. Please help. Right. Let's see what it says. And this is going to be unlike any, obviously, if you go to ChatGPT on its own, you've seen the impact of that, all the results, sorry. And there's not going to be an impact. So check this out. Mindset first. You're going to war. Right? This isn't a diet. This isn't a journey. This is a body recomposition mission. You're going to strip fat, retain muscle, and walk into that wedding like a damn gladiator. 3 months, 12 weeks, 84 days of war. This requires, and it gives you the mindset. Then the battle frame. And look how beautiful this is. How much time can you train per day? Very important question, right? Don't just give me a workout, just like it did for that personal trainer, by the way, who had to cut his workouts down or her workouts down because ChatGPT had given it an extensive workout, they couldn't hope to get done. Then it's like, do you have access to a gym or are you training at home? Beautiful questions. Injuries or limitations. I've got a back problem, so I put that in. Stats, height, weight, approximate body fat, dietary preference, on and on it goes. And then baseline plan until you respond, which is nutrition strict mode. And it's given me a rough idea of macros. Protein, by the way, which is backed by one of the best nutritionists on the planet, who talks about how people have too much protein actually sometimes. This is a perfect amount, right? Calories are based on ensuring that your hormones don't screw up completely, right? They don't go to shit. Your libido stays strong, and you can focus because we have to do presentations like Chris and I do all the time, as well as run the business and everything else, right? It's got fasted AM cardio if fat loss stalls. AM cardio. You see what I mean? Like all of this stuff is really, really powerful stuff, and it's predetermined, right? It's given me something to start with, but obviously I need to answer the questions. So it's getting me off to the races fast, right? And do you want to see? Give me a 1 if you want to see me use it. I use this every day. Do you want to see what I've been putting in just this week, as in actually using it? Give me a 1, and I can show you an actual day-to-day example. Yeah, anyone want to check that out? Real quick, give me 1. Dan says that's good stuff. I know. I love this. It's changed my entire life. So I've got a training plan for arms. This is from the Spartan Protocol, right? Look at the kind of stuff that I use it for. You ready? Because I know it's going to give me the right answer. Yeah. Look at this. Okay, let's park this for a second. How do we feel about cheese with my pasta from earlier? Maybe Parmesan. Actual question I typed in. Cheese with pasta, the good, the bad, the strategy, right? Is it a problem for fat loss? No, if you're keeping total, and it gives me all the science based on everything that I've fed it, right? Look at this. Expert panel verdict. Thib, very famous strength coach who I swear by. I know he knows his shit. Yes, protein and flavor enhancer, just don't drown the dish. Gardner, expert. It's not the cheese, it's the quantity. 10 grams, no issue. Spectre, gut microbiome. Fermented aged cheese, gut benefit in moderation. Brian Johnson, anyone know Brian Johnson? Right. So this is what happens when you train the AI to give you what you need specifically, right?
So he says 4 like world-class experts telling you what cheese you can eat, like whispering in your ear, right? That's crazy.
I know. Yeah, it's crazy, right? And even then, it's like you can do that. But even if I go further up, look, like this is the kind of stuff I've been talking to about. So I've said, as an example here, so proposed dinner, you saw. Look at this. Look at this. This is from earlier today, right? So I said, look, can I have this pasta sauce? And I took a picture of it. Anyone use MyFitnessPal? You heard of that? I used to use it all the time. It used to cost me, a couple of $100 a year. Done, finished, dashed. Don't use it ever. Why? Because I've got ChatGPT. I've got my phone. Bang. Yes, I have Greek yogurt and nuts if needed, and chia or flaxseed if needed. What's my tally? My calorie tally. Also, can I use this paste? Work it all out and tell me what to do. No BS. Roger that. Let's audit everything you've had and see if it works. So, and then it gives me all my calories, what I've had all day. Got it here. Imagine if I had a bad day, Chris, and I was in Burger King earlier. I wouldn't be showing you this, I promise. But anyway, then it says proposed dinner, chicken, pasta, veg sauce, 150 grams of, cooked chicken breast, on and on it goes. And then the breakdown. Here's your calories. Here's the amount of protein. And then daily tally so far. Optional light protein recovery, pre-bed, Greek yogurt, blah, 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 on and it goes. And then you can see targeted macros for push day, and it's giving me the whole breakdown. Final check, just to make sure everything is in line. Summary, tomato paste approved, dinner but perfect, recovery locked, cortisol controlled, fat loss and hypertrophy still on path for war. And I go, just to check, and all approved by all the experts. And it's giving me the experts and exactly what they've said, right?
And I like how it said there, hell yes, all approved by your expert war council.
He's talking to me like I like to be talked to, right? So yeah, so that just gives you an idea. You can see it's very capable of swearing at me and cutting me down to size if it needs, and it talks to me like I need to be talked to. But you can see, look at this training and neurotype recovery. I mean, you can't. How is the AI ever going to be able to do this? It can't. It's all about what you feed it. And I always say, if Shakespeare, people say, "Oh, I get this stuff." No one gets this stuff. I have these conversations on a daily basis. There's some people who do, but most people don't. To the level where I say, well, and my question is always, if Shakespeare had a laptop and ChatGPT, and I've got my laptop and ChatGPT, who would win in writing the best play? Obviously Shakespeare. That tells you everything you need to know, right? It's all about what you put in, and to leverage the power of it is based on your methodologies, your years of experience, your playbooks, and the genius inside the expert. That's what you're looking to unleash. But you can't do that without having, that information and knowledge, right? Because I know who Charles Thibodeau is. I know who Dr. Gardner is. I know who Tim Spector is, and on it goes. These are just a few of the experts there. But yeah, would you guys like this? So
you can do this for any kind of topic that you want to do as well, right? So just the idea that you take transcripts from podcasts, put them inside of ChatGPT to build these custom GPTs, right? Like you've done for your Spartan Protocol. Anyone can go ahead and do this. Takes about 5 minutes to put together, right? So super, super, super powerful. Like really, really crazy. And if you're curious about how you can do this with business, I mean, Jay's keen to click here on Mr. Miyagi. We'll show you that maybe tomorrow, Jay, I think, just so we don't run out of time today. So we'll show you Mr. Miyagi tomorrow.
You guys are gonna love Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah. So Mr. Miyagi is going to help you plan your day. We're going to give you all of the files and everything so you can set up and be productive. Because if you want to get traffic, and Jay, you can switch your screen off now because we'll continue through just some of the final bits here. But if you want to apply this stuff in business and for traffic and so on, we're going to give you a highly trained free chatbot, okay, that's not ChatGPT, that's going to be able to help you plan and solve problems when it comes to making money online, okay? But if you saw how Jay's ChatGPT setup there was very, very direct and didn't fluff him up, didn't, just, be there just to make him feel great, but actually told him the truth and the hard truth. And if you're willing to have a chat with an AI that will give you hard truths about making money online, building your business, that sort of thing, then you're going to get that here at the end of the session today, okay? So we'll be giving you that just right at the end. And we're also going to come back tomorrow and show you how you can build as well a platform yourself to plan your day to be really, really super productive. Because if you want to get traffic, if you want to grow your online income, right, you want to grow your business, then you need to really, really, be productive and use these tools in a way that you can just be extremely quick at getting results and use your time well, right? Because essentially time is money, right? So if you can get more done in less time, then you're in a good spot. All right, so let me jump in here and share my screen again. Okay, so yeah, here we go. All right, so we talked about the 3 biggest mistakes in AI, and I'm just going to talk about the levels here, right? So there's different levels. And so what Jay has just showed you here was a level 1 expert bot. Okay, so level 0 is you use ChatGPT and ask questions, just like we went and asked a question here and you get an answer. Okay, just like you might ask ChatGPT for a workout regime, something like this, and you just get an answer. But it's pretty average. It's trained by average people. It's not trained by world-class leading experts. It tends to be a bit generic. And, it also tends to be a bit overly positive and agree with you so that you keep using it. Okay, because if it disagreed with you and gave you the truth, then maybe you wouldn't like it so much, right? And so level 1 is then where you train the AI with specific information, just like Jay's shown you that, he took transcripts from podcasts, he took information from experts and put it inside a ChatGPT. You can do this really with many different tools, and you've got lots of different AI chatbots out there, okay, which you can use, and different ones are better at certain things, right? So ChatGPT is quite good as a personal advisor. For example, Cloud or Claude, depending how you say it, is much better at writing content. Okay, and so you can do this to create a sales page. You can do this to have your expert boardroom. Okay, so like Jay's got his expert health panel. We're going to show you an expert boardroom at the end of this session. And what this does and what this can allow you to do is actually to get maybe in some cases a day of human work done in 5 minutes. Okay, or to give you really, really high level advice. And so, for example, we can go in and I'll just show you here just very, very quickly, right, that we've got a highly trained AI that we built inside of Claude, same kind of idea where you build out a project, okay, and I can just say write a sales page and design it, okay, for Amcast, okay, it's one of our products, and we put quite a bit into training this, so it's got a lot of information and skill sets inside here, and then it's going to go here and it's actually building it out and coding it right here for me. Okay, so we'll come back and have a look at this in just a second because it'll take like a minute or so to go ahead and produce this, and we'll look at this and we can just I can go ask the same thing here to ChatGPT, okay, and it's not even going to know anything about my product or anything else, but let's just see what it comes up with. won't do a terrible job, but it'll be just average, right? So write a sales page for Amcast. Okay, here's a quick example here. And so it's much faster, okay, but it's wrong, okay, because it's not what it is, okay? So it doesn't even know about the product or anything else. It didn't bother to do any research or anything like that because it tends to be lazy. And here, this design and everything is being done, okay? So we've got our expert bot working here just as another example. You're going to get at the expert boardroom. And here's where we get into level 2 advanced multi-step bots, okay? And so this is how you might create a blog post, okay? And there's 2 ways to do this. You can use, say, a platform like make.com, right? And this is getting pretty advanced and technical, okay? But we're going to show you, okay, for the more advanced here, right? You'll get this, you know, if it's over your head, don't worry about it. But make.com, you can see here, it has like this flow, right? Where if I just do a little search here online, and we'll just find some images of this. These are example make workflows, okay? And so you have something where you've got this automation, okay, where it goes through a series of steps where it's pulling information from a database. This here is putting into a Google Calendar, right? Another one here is doing some automation from email, okay? Another one here is doing some automation, taking things through several steps, and you can actually call in AI at any one of these steps, okay? And so we've built, you know, some simple little workflows out inside of Make before, right? And it's just a nice little tool where you can do these multi-step workflows, right? And so make.com is one way to visualize that. And so make.com is free. You can go ahead and play around with that. It does like all of these special workflows. It can pull in different AIs. It's just one example, okay? Or you can just use a pro tool, okay? So, you know, just to make a blog post, for example, you know, the number of steps that it's got to go through is like choosing a topic, choosing a headline. Even in this tool right here, this tool goes through about 3 or 4 or 5, maybe 6 different steps to actually generate these headlines and do the research and everything else in the background, okay? So it's another multi-step tool. So even in just choosing a topic here and choosing the headline, okay, and then even tweaking the headline, right? There's several steps involved with that. To create a blog post, it's also got data sources, deciding the outline, editing the outline, fact-checking, writing each section, fact-checking the sections, creating key takeaways, adding FAQs, adding images, and then publishing it, all of these steps. Okay, so for example, if you're familiar with, you know, some of the stuff Bill does, like where it builds out an entire website, okay, where it builds out an entire info product. If you just took the creation of the info product, it's going through a large number of steps. If you just took the creation of the video inside of Bill's software, right, it's going through multiple steps. So it has multiple steps and multiple bots kind of all doing these workflows, right? But just for, say, doing one thing like creating a blog post, okay, even, you know, something as simple as doing some niche research, then if you just go to ChatGPT, it's doing one step. You're asking it a question, it does one step, okay? Even on here in these expert bots, right, we're asking it a question, it just does one step. It looks at its knowledge base, and then it builds something out. It builds out these sales pages, okay? Whereas here it's doing several steps, one after the other, and it could be even different AIs involved in the process, okay? And then when you get to level 3, okay, it's where you've got an entire team of AI agents. So for example, you know, Bill's got a platform where it's pulling in, you know, it's creating a website, it's creating an info product, it's creating videos, it's got all of these different bots, it's got many, many, many of these individual multi-step workflows working as an entire team towards an end goal, okay? And so some examples of that, right? It's essentially like having an entire department working towards a goal. You could, for example, have an AI sales team, right? So you have a research bot that researches data on the prospect, it emails them, or as a chat bot, it has a conversation with them over email, and it then sends reminders and things like this, and it responds to them. And so you could build something out like this, say with an even more advanced platform where you do coding and all of this sort of thing, say like with NAN and like other platforms and stuff which are out there, okay? And so, you know, there's all these kind of complex systems and stuff which you can use. And I know Bill is working on some amazing things around some of these concepts as well. Okay, and then you've also got multi-channel marketing that you can do, right? Which we're going to look at tomorrow, where it comes up with a content plan, it creates all of the content, it puts it in all sorts of different formats, it publishes it all across the internet to advertise your business, to advertise your website. And so this is where you've got entire teams of workflows. And so if you imagine, level one is you have an AI bot that's trained on very, very specific knowledge. Here, you've got an AI bot that's trained on specific knowledge, but it's got knowledge on several different steps. And so it's got an expert to create the topic. It's got an expert to create the headline. It's got an expert to pick the data sources. It's got an expert to write the outline, and so on and so on. So it's like stacking several expert bots in a row. And then you have something like this and you have one workflow. And level 3 is where you've got like several workflows happening together all at once and interacting with each other to do something incredibly powerful in a short amount of time. Okay, and so if we just go, and look at the sales page here that ChatGPT made in this kind of like level 0 setup, okay, it's pretty uncompelling, and it's also completely wrong about the product. Whereas if we look at the expert here, and we look at the one that we've got here from Cloud, okay, it says here is your business gambling its future on unpredictable paid ads, hits with some facts. It says introducing the product, 30 to 50x ROI, higher profit margins, okay, every format, every channel. This is a really, really powerful sales page, okay, that it's just knocked together and designed very, very, very quickly because it's trained exceptionally well, okay? So hopefully it makes sense how most people here are at level 0 when they're using AI, when you could be at level 1, level 2, or level 3. Okay, so give me a 1 if this is beginning to make sense why these expert bots that say can build out headlines are so powerful, why these expert trained ChatGPTs can help you with your work and with your productivity, all of these different things, and how when you begin to chain some of these things together, or just use a pro tool that's got them all trained together, gives you such a massive advantage. Okay, but ironically, most people go and use ChatGPT because they feel like they've got control and they're kind of putting their own flavor on it, but it's definitely the wrong way unless you are already a complete expert. Okay, and so when it comes to getting traffic, we already talked about here that choosing the right topics is a really, really powerful thing. Okay, and the better topics you have, the more traffic that you can get. But all of the internet is content. Okay, and so if you put out content and you do that with an expert workflow and you put out lots of it, then you can get traffic and you can get money. Okay, that's very, very simply how it works. And so if we can all put out content, right, and let's assume that we've got access to some great tools, like Headline Pig, we're able to use some tool which can create really, really powerful content, right, for you. What maybe is one of the limitations that you have, right? Well, the limitation is the zero-click traffic problem, okay? In that every platform has traffic to send you traffic. Okay, think about this for a minute. Every platform has traffic. Google has traffic, TikTok has traffic, YouTube has traffic, but they don't want to send you traffic. They want to keep the traffic on their website. When you go to Google, they try and answer the query for you. When you're on YouTube, they want you to watch more videos, not go off somewhere else. If you're on TikTok, they want you to watch more videos, and so on and so on and so on. And so how do you get around this problem? Okay, how do you get around this problem? This is really, really important, because if you want to make money online, if you want to grow a business online, you have to recognize that Facebook, that Google, okay, that TikTok, those platforms are in it for themselves. Okay, we're on YouTube right now, and the next thing YouTube wants you to do when you finish this video is not to come and join our session tomorrow, right? We're advising you come and join our private session tomorrow where we continue this, but it wants you to watch more videos, right? It's going to be recommending, go watch this video, go watch that video. And it just wants you to watch more videos so then that you see more ads. Okay, that's what YouTube wants. It doesn't want to send traffic to us, right? And so how do you overcome this? Because they want to keep all the traffic on their website. if you post a link on Facebook, they penalize you. Okay, right? If, you know, on YouTube, just people went straight to your website and didn't watch the whole video and watch more videos on your channel, they would penalize you. Okay, on Google, they just wanted to answer the question. They don't want to send people through to your website. Okay, so one of the things which works really well, okay, with this is very, very simple, is, and I'll write it up on screen here, is answer questions, okay, people research. Okay, because if they're researching, they're much more likely to dig out and find you and go to your website to get more information. So this is one way that you overcome this. Okay, this is the answer. Okay, right? The other answer is quality, right? And then by quality, I mean essentially engagement. Okay, so on like YouTube, if people watch more of your channel, they recommend your videos more. If on Google you provide really good answers and people check it out and they see this and it's answering their question, then Google will show you more often. Okay, and so if you have good quality, it's really, really going to help. Okay, and you do that by having essentially the highest trained AIs that can produce really good quality content, right? And you're answering the right questions. And then finally, you need volume, because if they're not going to send you many clicks because they're trying to keep it to themselves, you overcome that by doing high volume. Okay, so not one post a month, okay, because maybe one post a month used to do it like 5 years ago. You could do one post a month, you get a good number of clicks come through, right? You get clicked on your ads, you get clicked on the affiliate links, you get commissions, right? You were getting the clicks. But now they're keeping all the traffic to themselves. So you have to produce 10 times more than you did a year ago, right? Or a couple of years ago. So you have to do high volume. Okay. And then number 4 is you have to be popular. Okay. Because essentially the algos reward what is popular. Okay. So that means you need to be popular. Okay. And how do you be popular? Okay. You need to be everywhere. So if you want to win traffic, whatever the business model is, whatever it is that you're doing, you know, whether you're building out an info product, say with Build software, whether you are, you know, running an affiliate site, whether you're selling, you know, something on an e-commerce store, okay, whether you're running ads, okay, whether you're a local business, whether you are a local business, you've got your own website, whatever it is, okay, you need to answer questions people research before coming to your website, your solution, the product that you're promoting, okay? It needs to be quality, it needs to engage, you need to do massive volume, okay? And you need to be popular by being everywhere, and that means posting like all over the internet, okay? So this is what we're gonna cover in tomorrow's session, okay? We're gonna show you more cool free tools, okay? All right? And all sorts of great stuff and how you can kind of put this stuff together and everything else. All right. So join us for tomorrow's session. And the last thing today, then, I'm going to show you, right, before we crack on here and invite you back here for tomorrow, is the Amplifier expert panel. Okay. And so the expert panel from Amplifier, we got 2 versions. We got the friendly version, okay, which I don't recommend, okay, but you know, if you find the other one a little bit too rude, okay, you can switch to the friendly version, right? If I'm having a bad day, I might use it, okay, but I recommend you come in here and you use the expert panel from Amplifier. It's a free tool here, and this is trained, okay, on knowledge from Steve Jobs, from Elon Musk, whether you like him or not. He's one of the richest men in the world. So, right, he knows something about business, even if he's gone a little bit crazy. Okay, and there is a disclaimer here that he's, this is sober Elon. Okay, you can see here it's sober Elon. It's not Elon on ketamine, right? But if he is annoying you, you can switch to the nice version, like we said. Okay, and it's also got Tim Ferriss. Okay, so they're all trained on specific skill sets. So Steve Jobs trained essentially on excellence. Elon Musk will help you with first principles to really figuring out and getting deep into your problems and kind of moving forward with intensity. And Tim Ferriss is all about efficiency. Okay. And so this is like the reason why I built this is because unlike the company we showed you earlier, Jasper.ai, which has like $100 million plus in funding, even though their AI systems don't seem to be working very well at all. All right. The reason why I put this together is because, we don't have funding. We don't have an expert board of advisors to tell us how to run our business. Okay. And so we've got this tool right here for you so that you can ask a question. You can say, hey, right, I've got a problem. Like, for example, I am unsure how to grow my local kitchen business and get more leads online. Okay. And so we start off, and then it's going to ask you some really, really tough questions. Okay. And so if you're unsure where to start, you can just say, help me, grow my business, help me, grow my online traffic, help me make more money online, whatever it might be. Okay. And so you can just, find this if you're struggling for it, just go Google Amplifier's expert panel. Okay. And it's going to show up. All right. And so here, right, Elon Musk comes in with a sarcastic smirk. All right. And, he's saying you've got a kitchen business that's not exactly taking off. All right. And it's going to ask me some questions. What do you do? Do you do renovations? Okay. So I'll say like we build handmade kitchens from scratch. Okay. And you're going to go through and you're going to have this conversation. It's going to ask you a bunch of questions. The longer conversation you have with this, if you just do it for 5 minutes, you're not going to get that much out of it. And if you answer in great detail, you're going to get a lot more out of this. And so the more that you dig in, they're going to ask you some really, really important questions. It's really going to get you thinking. And when you do this, trust me, afterwards, you're going to have some epiphanies, even if some of these might be hard truths for you. Okay. This is an absolutely really, really powerful tool. I've used this to solve some of like the most difficult problems in my business. Okay. So I strongly recommend that you check this out and you use it. And it'd be great if you can do this tonight, have a conversation, half an hour if you've got the time, before we meet back here tomorrow, because then you're going to come to tomorrow's session fresh, okay, knowing, right, how or what you might be, problem that you might be solving in your business, what it is that you're going to be driving traffic through to, and you're going to get a lot more out of tomorrow's session, right, where we're going to be looking at how to put all of this together to drive massive traffic with AI, okay, on a completely another level, like nothing that you've ever seen before. Okay. All right. So really looking forward to seeing you then on tomorrow's session. All right. And so thank you so much. For me, I'm going to stop my screen share here and we'll say our goodbyes. Hopefully, Bill, you've got the link there in the chat for everyone.
Yeah. I have dropped the link to register. It's pinned in the chat, everyone. You can catch it. Look in the chat panel. That'll be your how you register for tomorrow's private session. I can drop the link again if anybody needs it, but it should be pinned in the chat. And then tomorrow's will not be here on YouTube. It'll be in a private room. And a couple of really awesome things are going to happen. You're going to learn more about how to take what you've learned, what you've got so far, build on it to get authority, trust, and a lot of traffic from places that you don't ordinarily hear me talking about. So what Chris and Jay are going to help you with is a whole new and different way to get traffic. And they've got a system that can make this really, really easy. So they're going to show that off too. So many of you I saw in the chat asking, well, what is the system? Tell us how to get access. Well, we'll cover that tomorrow as well. So they'll be showing you what their system is and how you can get access to it. But we've got a lot more really great content for you in the private session. And then everybody out there, I want to also remind you that if you've gotten value from this, hit the thumbs up button. I wouldn't be a proper YouTuber if I didn't ask you to do that. It'll help us get the word out about the training and about the content that Chris and Jay have shared here today. And I'd be really grateful. And then, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We have lots more content like this about getting traffic, building and growing your business, and much, much more. And then, guys, I really want to thank you for spending the time to bring this to everybody and the cool tools that you're sharing with everyone that they can use. It's been awesome. Yeah.
You're muted there, Jay.
Jay's talking to himself.
Yeah, but thanks so much.
Not the first time, Bill. No, thanks, Bill. Really appreciate that. And and I love the audience. I love the energy and the determination to get into it. So we're very excited. Obviously, we had to layer the foundations today. But give us a one if you feel like you can apply a lot of what we've taught you, even if we didn't come back for tomorrow. And that's the main thing. It's like we wanted to just give you stuff that you can learn and apply literally today if you needed to. That would help you guys.
Set the reality, right, of what's really going on with AI and what it takes to succeed as well, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, it's a challenging thing to walk for me because, we have push button AI, right? And so while it does build people's businesses by pushing a button, I don't want to set the false expectation that you push a button and like money just starts pouring out of the ceiling, right? That's, moving on to getting traffic and then making
I love
profit.
about what I love about what you've got there, Bill, is like, it's just an incredible way to test ideas as well. An incredible way because it's so fast, and you've got all those different agents working, right, to build all of that stuff. So it's incredible.
Yeah, well, my mantra is that money loves speed, slogan, and the push button AI lets people embrace that. Where literally idea to a launched business can be fast, but then they need traffic, right? And that's where you guys come in and can really help with that. And before we go, I do want to zero in on a point that you made about the zero-click traffic problem, and I don't think that was really exciting to me because I haven't had a really good way to articulate that to people. That it's like this really weird problem when you launch a brand new website because no one wants to give you traffic if you don't already have traffic. Like, who here has heard that phrase? You can't make money without money, right? Or it takes money to make money is the common way to say that. So anybody ever heard that? Say yes, say me in the chat if you ever heard that phrase. It takes money to make money. Ever heard that? Well, we kind of have the same problem with traffic. It takes traffic to get traffic, which is like, how do you start getting them to give you traffic when they need you to prove yourself and have trust and authority in order for them to give you traffic? It's like, how do you even break out and get started making traffic? And what I love about what you shared today, guys, is that this is the solution to that. And I see so many new online entrepreneurs stuck in this sort of weird, they're like stuck in the starting gate and they can't ever seem to start getting that momentum of traffic. And what you're talking about, it's the solution for that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's like to be popular, right? You have to be popular already,
Yeah.
It's that same catch-22 situation, but we're going to be covering that tomorrow as well, of how you can kickstart that very, very quickly.
All right, fantastic. Well, then final call to go register for tomorrow's private session. Again, reminder, it will not be here on YouTube. And then, you can grab that link in the chat. And with that, guys, I want to thank you. I'm going to keep talking here for a minute, but I'll let you guys drop out. I know it's getting late for both of you, so.
Yeah, a lot of people were complaining about the orange light, and I was like, I can't change it, man. I'm sorry. If I do, because Bill, we sit in front of the desk all day. That's what we do, right? And in the evenings, it just goes in your brain when you can't sleep.
Your Spartan board of fitness directors would never allow you to put the bright light on your laptop.
No,
right?
It's like you don't conform. You cannot do that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I really need to do that. I have not been paying close enough attention to that myself. I'll sometimes work late and, be just at the raw screen, and I don't do anything about the wavelength of light that I'm exposed to. I probably should.
Well, I mean, there's these, you've probably seen them, Bill, the glasses. You can get what are they, blue light or something, right? Glasses. Mm-hmm. But the problem with that is, you look like a douche, and I'd rather not do that. So I found this solution, but I mean, you gotta work it out, right?
Yeah. Well, and I thank you guys.
Tomorrow with the orange glasses. Come tomorrow with the orange glasses and the bright.
Yeah, you got to show up with orange glasses tomorrow.
Well, then people will complain, Bill, and say, "Well, why have you got orange glasses on?"
You can't win. But yeah, everybody out there, like I bring these guys on and it's always late for them. You know, like I'm here in California, they're all the way over in Europe. And so I drag them out here and they're like, you know, it's late, it's time for bed, but they come out anyway and deliver awesome content for you. So I appreciate it, guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, thanks again, Bill. So we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you very much. And yeah, let's rock and roll.
All right, cool.
Yeah. All right. Look forward to day 2.
Take care.
Okay,
guys.
awesome. Well, I'll wrap us up here. And I do want to thank everybody for hanging out with us in the chat today. And Chris and Jay will be back tomorrow in our private members only session. You can register. It's free. Not going to charge you anything for it. They're going to get into where do you pick up from here and then start getting traffic. And then they'll reveal the system that they have, and they'll be giving you a chance to get access to it that does a lot of this stuff for you. So again, the link to that to register is pinned in the chat. And then again, final reminder here on YouTube, we do content like this every single week. So I'm here live every Wednesday, and we drop videos all throughout the week to give you lots of content. So if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, definitely do that as I'm heading out of here now. And then, of course, give us that thumbs up if you got some value out of today's video. And I think that pretty much covers it for the day. And thanks again for being here. And with that, let me see. I want to push this here. There we go. My screen is being weird. It won't let me escape the stream here, guys. One second here. I need to make sure I properly end this. But with that, we're going to head out of here. See you tomorrow.